Welcome to the Aries Code Engine demo, where we automate software development. During this presentation, we're going to discuss what ACE is exactly and what does it do. We're going to review what kind of projects ACE would benefit, see how ACE fits into a typical software development lifecycle, review the steps Aries would take in building a solution for you with ACE, and finally, we are going to show the use of the tool in building a solution end-to-end. So what is ACE and what does it do? In simple terms, ACE is the automation of software programming. Think of it as if you had a robot programmer working for you. Just like a human programmer, you would give them a series of commands such as what to build, how to structure it, and for what platform you need it for, essentially telling them what solution you are after. With ACE, because of how it works, that programmer is able to create your solution using standardized structure, process, and conventions. Because he's a robot, he can create the code so rapidly that it allows you to get to testing your end solution in a fraction of the normal time. This gives your project savings in time, resource costs, yet because of ACE's ability to precisely follow your standards and procedures, creating consistent code using a repeatable process results in a dramatic increase in quality, making QA a key benefit of using ACE in your project. Further, you're able to capture the knowledge of decades of work into a tool that can then pass it along to any new project you start. Think of all the savings in time, money, and stress ACE could deliver in all the projects you are involved in. Projects like ETL, new development, migration, enhancements, maintenance, or integration work. ACE is used daily by our teams at Aries, saving us thousands of man-hours. Now that you understand what ACE can do, you can see that ACE is an essential component to the day-to-day efforts of any IT project that has to touch code in any way. This is because with ACE involved, you gain predictable results, assure that you have a repeatable process and structure for every project. Here is a simple high-level view of how ACE fits into a typical software development lifecycle. As you can see, ACE complements and enhances key areas that will affect the overall success of the project. In building a solution with ACE, here's what Aries does. Just like a typical software development lifecycle, we define the solution or the need. We then take all of that information, define the data structure, solution architecture, software architecture, process, and then the other components that are necessary for the solution to be successful. Taking this information, we import it into ACE using either manual entry or wizards or tools that are accompanied with ACE, creating all the different components that you can think of that would be necessary in building out the end solution, such as defining UIs, defining all of the different fields, defining all of the different ETL jobs, etc. Once we have this, we next now define how the output will look like. Is there an iOS application? Is there an Android, .NET component, services, or any other component that would build up the solution? And we define where those components are going to be placed and built. We link them to any kind of source control or any other items that we need where we want to keep versioning. Finally, combining the above, we create our templates, essentially telling the robot what we want built and what the different decisions are for the different components. What that means is that how is ACE going to build out the solution so that it's complete, not just code generated? We then take the completed code that ACE generates and then bring them into the different IDEs that we're using, such as Visual Studio, Eclipse, NetSuite, any of those things that we would use typically in building a complete solution. Now that we understand how ACE works and how it fits into the overall software development lifecycle and what the steps are in building a solution, we're going to go into an actual demo of building a solution end-to-end. Welcome to the Aries Code Engine demo. During this demo, we're going to go over how the ACE tool is structured and used, and then we're going to build an end-to-end solution, which is going to be a .NET-based content management system. Aries is going to also release this .NET content management system to the public as an open source CMS. Let's review the components of ACE: the data structure, the output folders, and the templates. Combined, they make up the pieces that we need to build a solution. Now let's look at how ACE does what it does. These settings allow ACE to translate between programming types, data types, and much more. Going to go through real quickly and review all the different screen sequences to give you an overview of these settings. Let's take a quick look at the ETL area in ACE. This is where you would create your mappings and your configurations from which you'll create your codes. We'll go into a deeper dive of ETL in another series of videos. So let's start building our new solution in ACE. Going to be naming our project and setting up all the configurations. Next, we're going to define our data structure, and we can do this in a number of ways. In this case, we're going to go ahead and import the data structure from an existing database that we've created. We can use a number of different databases. In this case, we're using OLEDB, but the capability exists to import from any database that's out there. Once the process is complete, we have our table structure and our fields. Now we can move on to the remaining steps in building our configuration. Now that we have our structure in place, we're going to just go ahead and quickly save our project just to keep track of our progress. Now that we've saved our project, I can go through and start configuring ACE. So I'm going to go through and look at how the data is related to each other. And then I'm going to go through the different fields and tables and define how the data maps back to user interface and process. Throughout this step, I'm going to be doing a series of things such as defining and standardizing whether a field is visible or not, and what the label is for that field, and whether it's searchable, and so on, so that it's standardized across all types of applications, all types of solutions, how the data maps to user interface and process. In this next section, I'm going to start defining alternate or additional conversions between the data types and the user interfaces and alternate data types. What this does, it helps me with ETL jobs for transforming or moving data between systems, and also for building the user interface. I can specify at the field level what kind of control I want to use, such as a list box, a combo box, or any of those other combinations. What all of this does is create standardization across systems. In our next step, we're going to go define where we want the output from ACE to be placed, which folders, which directories, etc. Defining where we want the code that's generated out of ACE to be created. So now we're going to move on to building our templates. In building our templates, we're going to define the database, we're going to define the output folder, the language, and all of the other specifications necessary to create your code. So this is where we actually start building our code templates that are going to be converted into actual code used in the different IDEs. This would be ETL and other functionality. So I'm going to be creating multiple templates now. So now that we have our end solution built out in a template form, I'm going to ask ACE to start compiling and building the code base that I'm going to use in the different IDEs. So we have the process complete now, and we can start doing our next step. Our next step is going to be a series of copy paste from these folders that you see where ACE has outputted the source code into our different environments for creating the database and also starting to build up the solution in Visual Studio. Here I'm just creating the database as well as copy pasting some seed data in the next couple steps. Next, moving into Visual Studio, bringing over all our data classes and our CRUD functions, as well as our screens and our process. The code here that's being copy pasted is all raw code out of ACE, so no touch from a developer at this point, but just code out of ACE. So now it looks like we have a complete solution. All we have to do now is go through and seed our database. Now I'm going to quickly go through the different projects in our solution and compile them and make sure that there's no typos or mistakes in the code. Looks like everything is compiling well, so we're going to go ahead and start the solution to see that everything is working. So now we're running the new solution to see that it all works. Our new CMS is complete. Going over our end solution here, as you can see, all the screens were generated out of ACE. I didn't touch any code so far. The theme came from a popular theme site that we downloaded, so you'll see some JavaScript errors that we have to fix. It came from the theme, but we have our final solution. Just going to go through some of the high-level screens for you. And there we go. We built an end-to-end solution right in front of you. Thank you for watching. If you like a live demo, please do reach out to us.